my faithful friends. Today I'm going to be sharing with you what I was carrying in my pack and what I was wearing during the warm summer hiking months and what I had with me or what I was wearing when I stepped off the trail. So let's get right to it. Let's start with the outside. The pack itself is an Osprey Eja 58. On the back side, I had on a small lightweight carabiner, my through hiker tag, and my Appalachian Trail Women's Group patch. In this pouch here, I kept rain gear. Toward the end, I did not carry a rain jacket or rain pants. I did carry a Zpacks pack cover. It didn't fit perfectly for an Osprey, but it worked well enough. I had a visor and a bug net. In this pocket, I also kept an extra 2-liter water bladder. This is the Hydrapak, and it fits, the top does fit on my Katadyn Be free filter. And that's all I would keep in here. On the front of the pack was simply a half a bandana on the carabiner, and I sewed a buttonhole so that it would hook right onto here. In this front pocket is my Be free filter. And in the other pocket, I would have just a smart water bottle that I don't have with me now. In one pocket, I would keep the tent stakes and the tent poles. And that's it for the outside of the pack. For a while, I wore a Zpacks multi-purpose pack, but I had some trouble with the zipper. I have yet to return it for repair. I went through 2 emails. The first email I didn't get a response from Zpacks, but the second email they did respond and asked me for photos of the damage and sent me a piece of paper, to print and return the item. So it's hard to duplicate the problem, but I'll do a review. But it was an issue with the zipper, so I'll do a full review on that. This is not going to be a review video. Poles. They're just Walmart, that's it. They were $19. I have duct tape just around one end of them, actually on both of them, and that's it. They're collapsed right now. They have the cork handle, and the pair I started with is what I got about halfway through my hike last year, and then I just replaced them this year with the same Walmart brand for $19, and they served me well. There you have it. Those are the items that were not inside the pack. My tent poles and stakes, water filter, extra water bladder. For a while I had the multi-purpose pack that I would have on my chest, the rain cover, trekking poles, and bug net and visor to help keep the bug net off of my face. These are all of the items that I had inside the pack. As I said, the Osprey Eja 58. Okay, now you know what I carried outside of the pack or in the pockets, and now I'm going to show you what was in the pack. We'll start with my 10-degree Enlightened equipment quilt. I did carry this the whole time, even though it was certainly too hot in the summer. I had the liner with me, but I didn't want to carry both, and the liner was just really heavy toward the end. I wanted to ditch as much weight as possible, and I found that I was just sleeping outside of anything. I would just lie there in my tent and just let any air that was around get at me. It was really hot and humid. So I sent the liner home. I kept this with me because it's so light, and if I did get a chill, I would just pull it up over my legs, but I rarely had to. But I certainly wanted to have something warm just so that I wasn't putting myself at risk of being too cold. But that's really all I had with me, kept it the entire time. The sleeping pad is the Thermarest NeoAir XTherm. I loved it, and I slept well when I didn't have insomnia. I have my Summit Aeros ultralight regular inflatable pillow. Loved this. Has helped me sleep very well. And I have the inflation sack for the air pad. That the nozzle just goes in here and you squeeze it to inflate. I'll be doing videos on each thing in particular and doing a review on them, so you'll probably see me inflated at that time, but this was just the inflation sack. The tent, Big Agnes Fly Creek HV UL2. Again, you'll see a whole video. This was a 2-person tent. I absolutely love my tent. I did have 1 or 2 issues, but I'll stick with Big Agnes in the future, but I'll do a review on this that you're gonna see very soon. This is the ground sheet that went with the tent that I bought separately. It doesn't come with the tent, and this I used if it was raining when I was setting up my tent so that I could dry pitch it. What that means is I would stake this ground sheet into the ground, and then put the poles on and then the rain fly, and then I could just carry the tent underneath and set that up, and the tent or the inside of the tent would not get wet. So that was cool. So again, you'll see that when I do the whole tent review, and I'll show you how I set it up, but that's the ground sheet. This is Tyvek here that everything is on, and I did carry this also, and I will go in depth because that's one of the issues I had with the tent. This helped to keep me dry underneath from water seeping through the floor, which I had an issue with when I only carried and used this. So you'll get more information about that. Right now I'm just showing you what I had with me. So I did carry the ground sheet and a piece of Tyvek. These were just 2 random shopping bags, one from Dollar General. I always keep 1 or 2 with me. This is just a laundry bag from probably one of the motels. I just poke a hole in the bottom. If it's raining when I take my tent down, or if my tent or fly is wet, I wouldn't pack them inside of my bag because everything would get wet. So I would stick them in a plastic bag, poke a hole in the bottom for it to drain, and either tie it to the back of my pack or in that back mesh pocket so that it would drip out or ventilate, and then I would hang it out to dry when I had a chance. So I always just kept 1 or 2 grocery, bags with me at all times. My food bag, this is the Light AF, which was sent to me by a viewer. Thank you very much, Gary. It's the same fabric, the Cuban fiber, as some of the popular food bags out there, waterproof. It was great. So I didn't come home with much, but obviously I would carry my food in there. Larabar, some oatmeal. We'll talk food another time. In my food bag, I carried the toiletries that I use every morning and night, my toothbrush, some powder, a comb, my vitamins, and my whistle that I always kept tucked inside my shirt. And I kept it in here so that I would remember as I was getting dinner, I'd remember to brush my teeth and use it, and in the morning as well. And it was always with my food so that it would go up in the tree when I hung my food. I also had the other half of the bandana, if you remember. I have half on my pack to wipe my face and wipe my nose, and the other half I simply just cut it in half. $1 from Walmart, 100% cotton for sure. That's what would absorb, but this was just my napkin at dinner time. I have a Ziploc bag that you would have seen me in some of my videos, filled with water and 1 or 2 drops of Dr. Bronner's, and this would be my backcountry sink. And looking forward, I probably will not carry soap next time. That's a little extra weight that I don't need, and it's been proven that you can just use water, and as long as you scrub and get some friction and do a good job, you can get just as clean with just water. You're never going to be really clean out there, but apparently you don't need soap. Oh, that was just more food. I carried a long spork titanium, and this was a Cedar Summit that I got 2 years ago, very light. And I did end up picking up one of these, just a small, it's a Toaks spoon, because it's really hard to have soup or anything real liquidy with the spork. I was really getting frustrated, and I figured I'd sacrifice, so I do end up having both. It was worth it for me. And the only other thing besides the food was my bear bag, my line and so forth. So these are 2 carabiners. They're pretty big, but they're really light. I guess titanium. One is just Sturm, S-T-U-R-M-E. I don't know where I picked them up, just randomly along the way. And the other doesn't even have a name on it, to be honest. Oh, REI. Very lightweight. And the reason I have 2 is because I have 2 little rucksacks. This one came with the backpack cover from Zpacks, and I don't use it to store the pack cover. I just use it as a rock bag to throw my bear line. And I did get this one, which is the Light AF, with this bear bag, and it has just the lightweight cord to go with it. Now the reason I carry 2 is that more than half the time, I really think it was more than half the time, when there wasn't a cable or a bear box, I would end up not finding a tree that has the appropriate branch. So I wasn't able to do a proper PCT method bear hang, so I would string my bag between 2 trees, and I will video that. Not today, but I will show you. So in that case, I liked to have 2 bear bags and 2 carabiners, and I got the lightest ones I could get. They really weigh nothing. They must be titanium. So that's it for the food bag. My cook pot. I would like to get rid of the weight of this little case, but the cover, this is a Toaks 750 milliliter. The cover doesn't stay on, it doesn't snap, so it would just fall off and then everything inside would fall out. So I kept everything in this little case inside my pack. I use this seems to be the perfect size. Most all the recipes call for approximately 2 cups of water for all your dehydrated food, so this was perfect, and I liked the handles. My lighter would be inside of there, a little plastic scraper, my stove, which is the MSR Pocket Rocket, that would be in there. And again, I'll be going through every item individually with a review. And then another half a bandana that I would just stick in the pot, and then put my fuel in and the other items. So that would be my cook kit. What I'll do at the end of this video is make a slide that lists all of the gear. So if you're looking to compare it to what you have or what you might need, then you can just look at that last slide and jot it down. This was my general toiletries or miscellaneous or emergency repair kits. So in here would be things like, it's just a Sea to Summit dry sack. I had in here the patch kits for the tent and the air mattress. I have purification tablets just in case my filter fails, which has not happened in 2 years. I do have diaper rash ointment. Might be too much information for you, but you know, you don't get real clean out there, and I have a little problem with in the nether regions with a little bit of rash when I'm out there in the summer with all that sweat. So diaper rash ointment, if you have that problem, give it a shot. I just got the CVS brand, it worked fine. Some Tylenol and some ibuprofen. I don't like to carry the bottles and 100 pills, so I would just put a fistful of each in a little plastic bag and keep those. I used them less and less as time went on, more at the beginning because I was much much more sore, but not so much toward the end. Okay, I kept a plastic bag with some bug repellent. This is DEET. I usually don't like to use DEET between what I can put on my body or what I spray my gear with. I like Katadyn and permethrin, those two things rather than DEET, but sometimes you just gotta buy what's available at the time at some gas station or wherever I was at the time. So bug spray, just trial sizes, sunscreen, and I did carry a tick key that I got, gosh, at the checkout counter, probably REI or something like that. All right, I have a very tiny, tiny Swiss Army knife. Just a little trial of eye drops that I got out of a first aid kit. I didn't need to have a whole bottle of Visine, but I did want a little bit in case I had an eye irritation. Some Q-tips. And in this little pack was just some KT tape, 4 or 5 Band-Aids, a blister pad, let's see, oh, some Advil PM to help me sleep, and Tums in case I get a little bellyache, and just the little trial size, you know, out of a first aid kit, the antibiotic ointment and a couple of alcohol swabs. That's it. This is all I needed for a first aid kit. I will go over that with you and tell you my reasonings when I'm doing actually reviews and breaking down. That's not the purpose of this video. I just wanted you to see what I was walking off the trail with. The only bottle I had with a prescription label was doxycycline, which I never had to touch, but my doctor agreed to give me and fill a prescription in advance, knowing I was going to be away from home, so that if I got a tick on me, I could immediately take this if I was concerned, and at least get the antibiotics started while in the meantime before I could get to the doctor and see if I was actually infected, but I never had to use it. And I just kept separate. This is actually just a little bag that my pillow came in that I didn't ever use again. But in here were just little random extras that were small, and I wanted to keep them together. There's one of the straps for my quilt, that in the winter I would strap it around my air pad to keep me warm, but in the summer it was just always at my feet, and once in a while I'd pull the quilt up to my knees, so I didn't need the strap. An extra smart water bottle cap. These are extra doggy bags. This is what I would pack my waste out with, my my toilet paper, so I just kept a little roll of that with me. Earplugs and the little attachment for my iPhone, and that was that's it for in here. So that was it for my little repair kit and emergency kit. Half of, well, actually just the bottom portion of a smart water bottle that I would keep somewhere near the top of my pack, so if I got to a water source that I couldn't get my filter in, I could just scoop out water, and I had to use that a decent amount of times. My headlamp, which is a black diamond, and it has the red and the white lights, and I tended to keep this in this little scoop because otherwise, if it was just floating free in my pack or in the brain of my pack, it would sometimes press and turn on and use the battery. You'll notice I don't have the brain of my pack here because I sent that home. I realized for two reasons. It's extra weight, and when you give me extra space, I fill it, and I would just put more stuff. So I sent that home and just kept the items that I normally would keep in the top in the brain. I just kept them at the top inside of my pack. In my pack also, I had just a little camp towel. I just got something cheap at Walmart and cut it. It's probably like a quarter of it, like washcloth size. It's just that really absorbent towel. It's just really no name. It was just nice to clean up in the tent with if I needed, if it was raining or very wet. Some diaper wipes, trial size diaper wipes. The electronics were just the phone that I'm recording with and the tripod that my phone is on right now. And I have the headphones in this little Gossamer Gear pouch, which isn't completely waterproof, but it certainly was just yet another layer, and it just kept the cord together. I just kept my Anker charger. This is the Anker 20,000, and the cord to charge my phone with it. The cord to go into the wall port, and the wall port I foolishly didn't bring outside. They're up in my bedroom, so I do apologize. I'll show you, I'll insert a picture of it right here. It's the Anker wall port. It's the quick charge. Without that, if you just use the standard wall port, it could take 12 to 16 hours to charge your phone. So with this one, it usually took about 6 hours overnight at a hostel or motel, and it worked out great. So I kept the charger and the cord in this little Gossamer Gear pouch just to keep it safe, an extra layer around it to prevent the weather from getting at it. The headphones I already discussed with you. There happens to be two pairs here simply because this pair broke and I wasn't near a trash barrel and then forgot about them. So these will go in the trash because I have the right ones for my iPhone. These would be with me. My sunglasses, of course. This was my toileting kit. Yet again, I didn't buy sacks usually for specific items. This was left over from something. The Summit Thermalite Reactor sleeping liner, the one I mentioned earlier, that I sent home. It was just heavy, and even with that in the middle of summer, I was just too hot. I just didn't use anything, but I grabbed the pouch just to keep all my toileting things, and I would keep this accessible toward the top of my pack. So I have a trowel, which is the Deuce. I have some biodegradable wipes, but I did not bury these, and I did not put them in the privy. I would use regular toilet paper, which I do have some with me. I would just use a little bit of toilet paper and then just a little swipe with the wipe, and I would pack the wipes out. I would usually bury the paper if it were number 2, and I would dig my hole appropriately, 6 inches, and bury number 2 paper. But I never buried my paper if I was just going number 1. I would just pack that out in that little doggy bag, which is this. Also in my toileting kit was some hand sanitizer. Now, use your own judgment and do your own research. Rumor has it that the hand sanitizers really don't work. They really don't kill the germs they claim to, but that's a personal decision on your part. From what I understand, that doesn't work, and I would probably think twice before I carry this on my next long distance hike. And the only other thing in here, which I rarely use, this was a fear I had when I started last year, and I just never got rid of them. I carried just a few strips of flagging tape, and this was because I was nervous about stepping too far off trail and getting lost. There was only one time this year, if you saw that video, you saw I had maybe a 2 minutes or 1 minute panic that I couldn't find the trail. I was just disoriented when I stepped into the woods, but I did carry this at the beginning and I just never took it out. It is not a bad idea if you're stepping into the woods and there's any question about where the trail is. Just hang a couple strips on a tree so you can find your way back to the trail. This was something I picked up toward the end, and I liked it. It was $5 at Walmart. It's just a little outdoor products $5 day pack. Before that, if I was slack packing, I would just borrow a day pack from a hostel or the shuttle driver. Usually if you're slack packing while you're on the trail, the hostels will have a pack for you to use. But I saw one for just $5 and I grabbed it and decided I would give it a shot. So I had it for the last few weeks, maybe the last month of my hike, and I'm glad I had it just to have my own. You know, sometimes you borrow a pack and it's pretty stinky. But I'll make that decision if I'll carry it again, if I'm really trying to keep my weight down, or if I want to have my own slack pack with me. We'll see, but I did like that for sure. And the last thing was my clothing. So what I have on, and again, I will outline my items. I will do a whole shoe review, but I would be wearing my shoes. These are Hokas. I would have my liners. I always wore toe socks and a little pair of ankle socks. My shorts with our Walmart, and these lasted last year's hike and this year's hike, and now they've had it. The leg part is all stretched out. They just have the little bike shorts and just a little fabric, and it's just the Walmart brand. I'll put down there what brand it is. And my Under Armour shirt that still smells, and you've given me tips on how to get rid of the smell, and I will utilize them, from vinegar to some spray that you can use with your animals. But right now, just reminds me of the trail, and I'm not ready to let go of that hiker stank yet. Obviously I have a bra on and my Buff, which is simply the Buff brand. And yeah, that's pretty much all I wore. I always carried my puffy. Winter, spring, summer, fall, always. This was the Mountain Hardwear Ghost Whisperer, which is probably by far one of the most popular puffies out there. And for the weight, even in the summer, I just kept it, because sometimes in the morning, I would just have that chill, and I would just sit and have my coffee with my puffy on. One pair of underwear, and these are like I said, I would wear toe socks. These are Injinji toe socks, and one pair of ankle socks that, again, I got at Walmart. Very low budget. Pro player, they're literally from Walmart. So I would just have these two on each foot, and then I would carry one extra pair of these little ankle socks. In the winter, I wore the Darn Toughs, and I did pick up at trail days that I'm looking forward to wearing in the winter, which are the Farm to Feet socks, and those are really cool. Those have been sent home, and I'm not at my home right now, so I'm going to show you all my winter gear, and I'll show you those socks. But certainly in the winter, I wore better quality, warmer socks, Darn Tough and the Injinji liners, and I can't wait to try my Farm to Feet. But that was it. I didn't have a change of clothing for the summer. I did at first, and I just got ruthless with myself and wanted to cut the weight. So if I was really sweaty or it rained and I got wet, then I was wet. I wouldn't sleep wet. I would just sleep naked. It is what it is. So I really didn't carry much extra clothes at all, just my puffy and an extra pair of socks, and that was it for the summer. That is it, my friends. I really cut my weight down. All of this weighed without food was 14 pounds, 5 ounces. And I'm pretty proud of that. And then you add food and water, and it was about 22 pounds. Yeah, with food and water, 2 liters of water, I was coming in at about 22 pounds toward the end of my hike. Now, I carried a few other things prior to just ditching it and sending it home. I had an extra t-shirt. I had my umbrella. I had the brain from my pack. You know, and those things add up. They really do. And I really got hard on myself, but for personal reasons ended up leaving the trail. But I think that I really narrowed it down, and I can get it lighter the next hike, because I'm going to upgrade to a new pack. I don't know which one yet, so that will be later. So I'll new pack, the lighter sleeping pad. I need a new tent. You know, so the changes that I make, I think I can do really well. My goal is to be under 25 pounds, maybe closer to 20 for my next long distance hike. So that's it. That's what I stepped off the trail with this year, folks. And I will update you with what I carried in the winter months and maybe some things that I decided that I will never carry again, no matter what the season. All right, I'll be back soon with actual individual gear reviews. Bye.